Hi, this is Darren Lyle. There are a couple things I wanted to mention before I moved on here. One of the things I had said earlier was that I tended to make these points here within the bone 100% and then the edges or vertices along the joint at 50%. And that's really kind of more of a starting place. And I just wanted to show you something because as I'm going along, I realize I should have mentioned this. What I'm doing here is working on the pinky of the other hand, and I'm going to go ahead and select points, and then I can press Control plus to add to those vertices, and I can select a couple more here. And I will go ahead and select these and set this at 100 or 1.0 weight and click Assign. And then I'll select this edge and put it at 0.5 and click Assign. And one thing that I didn't mention is that often what I'll do is I'll take this next edge and put that at 0.25. So I'll go ahead and assign that. So if we go back to weight paint mode, you can see it kind of goes from red to green to blue. Now I'm going to select the next bone here and then select the edge on the other side. And for this bone, I'll make this 25% or 0.25. Then the next edge will be 0.5. And then the others of this finger will be 100%. So I'll take these and do 100% here. So now if we go back and look at this, you can see a nice gradation from 100% down to 0.25 here, and also going the other way as well. So if I wanted to continue that, I could take this, let's go ahead and select the pinky 1 bone here. So I could take this edge, and for the pinky 1, that would be 0.5. And let's go ahead and take this edge for the pinky 1 and have that be 0.25. And then this edge and this edge would be 100% for that bone there. So I'll put that at 1. So now if we go back, you can see we've got, well, I didn't do it quite right, did I? No, I didn't. Let's do that again. Let's take this bone and get this at 0.5, assign, and this at 0.25. Oops. Assign. And then, oops, didn't do that correctly, did I? Let's try that again. I'm going to remove these and then press Assign again. There we go. So now we've got that nice fade in and fade out, as it were. All right, so now I'll select this bone, and let me work on this real quick. So here should be our 0.25. There we go. So there we go. We've got just a nice gradation. And what that should give you, hopefully, let's test this out, is a better deform. So it doesn't just cut into the finger. And as I said, this is often something I do kind of after the fact. I go back in and see, do I need that kind of detail in there? And for these fingers, it's working out pretty nicely. So let's do one more here. I'm going to go ahead and select this bone for the index, for the ring finger, excuse me. And I'll select this vertex and I'll press Control plus and just expand that selection on up. And then I'll press the C key and add these in here. And that is going to be at 1.0, 100%. Another thing I could do too here, now that I think about it, is I could also take this edge here and fade it into that 50%. So if I removed this, I could say 0.75 here, then 0.5, and then 0.25. So I'm getting even more of a gradation from 100 to 0.25. So let's take a look at that. So now you've got this kind of fade out of the bone. So now if I select this one here and go back to vertex mode, this edge here would be 0.25. This edge here would be 0.5. This edge here would be 0.75. And this edge here would be 0.75 and then 0.5 and then 0.25. The problem is we'd never actually get up to 100% because there isn't an internal edge here. So use at your discretion. So for this, I will, I'll go ahead and leave this at 0.75 here just to test this out. And then we'll go to 0.5, assign, and then 0.25, and assign. So let's think about this. I never really got this, did I? So we'll do 0.75. Did I get this? Nope, I didn't. Doesn't look like I got that either. Okay. So here you see it never really gets up to 100%. That may be okay. I kind of like it to be at least up to 100%, so I will probably come back in and add these or increase these. So let's do one more here. I'm just going to get in the top view here and go back. And this one, let's talk about this as, say here, we're going to be 0.25, assign, and then 0.5, assign, and let's go ahead and say 0.75 here as well. This one should probably be 100 or 1. And then as we move back into here, these get a little bit more complex. So let's say I just want these points here. And I'll go ahead and put those at 1. And then these points back here are probably going to need to be, let's say 0.5. Let's see how that looks. And if we spin up underneath, doesn't look too great, but not too bad either. So now let's just test it. And really the true test is how it deforms. If you go through all this and you think, oh, I've got it all perfectly set up with 0.5, 0.25, whatever you're doing, and then it doesn't deform well, then you need to rethink it. Let's see how this one looks. Let me look underneath here. And I'm just hitting the R key and then moving the mouse just to test it. And let's try this one down here. Looks like it pulls a little too much right down here. So maybe I could take away 0.25, subtract 0.25 here, maybe. Something like that. And maybe even, now let's try that. Still pulling quite a bit. Could take some of that away and try it again. So that's the process, is just try it, then test it. And once you get a sense of how one finger is deforming or one part of the body is deforming, you can usually do that for the rest. But in the end, it's all a matter of how it's going to deform. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to continue on with the rest of the body, and we'll be ready to set up IK legs and a foot roll rig here pretty soon. Well, thanks for watching. See you then.